Hello, everybody. I'm Ryan Searles. I'm your pundit for today on some of our most breaking news we just got, or most recent news, I should say, for the breaking news we just got about F125. It is about time, but we finally have a release date. May 27th for the Iconic Edition, May 30th for our Standard Edition. There's a lot to talk about, and there definitely will be a lot to talk about on this upcoming week of RPL Recaps. However, I don't want to go too much into this, but I want to make things clear for drivers who have our beta. We have 3 tracks that got announced for our beta: Hungary, Circuit of the Americas, and Las Vegas. Now, if you remember, last year for the beta, Circuit of the Americas was on there. These other 2 tracks were not. However, we got a medium speed track, a high speed track, and a low speed track for the beta. A majority of our drivers have signed up for our beta. Me personally, I didn't. But I want to make a little note for you guys and what this means for RPL for F125. We obviously already have our races this weekend at Brazil for Tier 1 and Tier 2, Tier 3 in Singapore. And then next week we'll have our final races, or final race for all tiers of the game cycle in terms of points paying races. If you're not familiar with what's going to happen in between from now to the end of the game cycle, we're going to be having off-season races from now up until the release date. And every tier coordinator will hold these. Whatever track they choose to do, they'll choose it, and whatever order they choose to do so, whether it's before the race, week before the lobby opens, whatever that may be. So stay tuned for that. But we will still be running races before the next game cycle. However, this is different compared to previous game cycles because we have such a longer break in terms of championship races. Right now, with our current situation compared to 23 to 24, our end of the game on F123, you had a lot of drivers who got demotivated very, very easily because it was very, very close to the next game cycle. However, you also had a lot of drivers when the first beta came out, testing the beta and testing what the new game was like before our season ended entirely. It was probably a little past the halfway point, maybe 3/4 of the way in. Now we've got the penultimate round this week where the beta starts tomorrow. Tomorrow as we're talking about this. Hungary, Coda, and Vegas. Now, I do want to mention how things are going to go because a lot of questions tend to get asked consistently on the fact of, hey, well, is it next season for RPL with these contracts being signed on next game? And yes, that would be correct. Next season is on next game. We are not running another season of this game until at all. Next season is not until next game. However, like we said, there is off-season races. Now, I want to kind of explain the method that RPL went with before having championship races on F124. And it could very well be similar in F125, or it could be a little bit similar to F123 in terms of how things go. Remember, the F124 game was tested for probably 4 weeks up until championship races actually started. Yes, it took a little bit for championship races to start. And remember, we also had that McLaren patch on F123 before we ended up getting to the halfway point of the season. But we still started the season before that even happened. However, our way of going about things for F124 started like this. We had the game come out, then the week after, we ran social races, preseason test races, all that sort of stuff. Same thing. Remember, the game also underwent quite a few changes before we started our brand new season. Tier 3 had their first ever event in Spain on that Sunday. Tier 3 had an event in Austria afterwards. And then not far long after that, as we know it, Tier 1 had Silverstone and Texas, for those wondering. But not far long after that, and you can find these races on our YouTube, not far long after that, we had our season come straight away. Probably 2 to 3 weeks after, maybe 4 weeks if we were lucky. But it was 2 to 3 weeks after our brand new season started. And they made one change to the cars after one of the first patches, and then we didn't have a single change ever again after that. We also had just the patch change around the time of Season 1, Tier 3 Hungary, I want to say. And that was the last patch on this game. So, this does raise the question, what will happen for F125? Well, if the precedent was set by last game, if RPL and the admin team continue to do the same thing this time around, May 30th is that release date. They'll probably wait a week until everyone has those same versions, standard and iconic, and then that's when the preseason testing will start, or the social races, whatever they choose to do. Whether we run 1 or 2 weeks or maybe 3 weeks of them, who knows? But based on precedent, just like F123, the game cycle with the championship races was started anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks after the game came out. And if that's the case, be ready for a mid to end June start time for our next seasons in RPL. Remember, our next seasons have season 17 of Tier 2, potentially season 23 of F2, season 5 of Tier 3, and season 13 of Tier 1. Another question that could be raised because of what was mentioned today is reverse tracks. For the first time in F1 history, we'll actually be able to run F1 reverse tracks as an actual race from what it seems like. However they choose to do this, who knows? But at the same time, could RPL, by virtue of circumstance, choose to put this in one of their rounds? Who knows? Definitely could be a mystery round for whatever happens. I know that was definitely a suggestion, and Egg said during this off-season races we're going to probably do that with at least one of the tiers. Who knows? Like we said, time will tell. But do you think RPL should run these reverse races? Do you think they should just do one a season? I mean, it'd probably be easier to do so in Tier 2 and Tier 3, but it would definitely be a lottery, and it would definitely be a lot of fun. However, we'll continue to give more information when we get it from the game release, and get your thoughts as well. Do you think RPL should run reverse races? Do you like the route this is going for the way of F125? Are you ready to test the beta? We have a lot of drivers who signed up for the beta, and we'll be able to test it, so I'm sure we'll get their thoughts on whether they think this game will be ready for the release date or not. You never know, because this game cycle could be very interesting for F125. Will it disappoint? Or will it actually be similar to what F123 was, which is what everyone seems to want? We'll just have to find out whenever the beta is tested and whenever we get closer to May 26th, 27th area when the game comes out, and May 30th for our standard edition drivers as well. That will be it. We have a lot to talk about in RPL Recaps this week with this brand new news on the F125 game, folks. We will see you next time. I'm Ryan Searles. We're signing off, and we hope you enjoyed. Let us know what you think of the brand new news for F125. And until next time, folks, we will say goodbye and good night.